What is going on YouTube? Just helping you out here. And for this video, I'm going to be showing you two of my favorite stocks that I might be buying this week. But before we get into it, I want to give a little disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor and I do not provide financial advice. This video is intended to show you some stocks that I will be keeping an eye on and potentially buying. However, I am not recommending or advising you to buy them. This video is intended to be for educational purposes only, and if you do decide to buy any of the following stocks, that will be entirely your own decision to make. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, the first stock that I want to discuss is UAL, or United Airlines. And so I'm going to start by zooming out here. We're going to go to a weekly chart, and you can see this stock has been in a long-term uptrend ever since about 2008. And now if we go ahead and zoom into a daily chart, you can see that we have an intermediate uptrend here that has been going on for about 5 months. And most recently, you can see the stock has run up nicely, and now it is running sideways and tightening, which I have outlined by these two lines right here. Now, when we have a pattern like this, where we have a nice run up and then a tightening consolidation, we expect this to break to the upside. And so I am going to be looking for the price to break above this downtrend line right here. And if it does do that, I will be buying this stock. Now, it is important to manage risk, so I will be putting in a stop loss. Now, with patterns like this, it can be reasonable to put your stop below this consolidation, so it would be below this uptrend line that you see here. But in this case, the gap from here to here is pretty large, and I don't want to risk that much, so I would be looking for a place inside this consolidation to put my stop. One place could be just below this rising 21 exponential moving average that you see here in this blue line. But again, I think that's still risking too much, so I would look for something even higher. And conveniently, today we just printed this candle up here at the top of the consolidation, so it wouldn't be unreasonable, and I would be comfortable putting my stop just below that candle, assuming this was to break out and run on the next trading day. And if we do break out and run, I am going to try and move this stop up to break even as soon as possible to minimize the chance of losing any money on this trade. Now, I will say this candle is a little unfavorable because you'll notice that it is somewhat of an inverted hammer candle, so we would expect the price to fall from there, maybe into this 21 moving average or even to the bottom of this consolidation here. And you'll also notice that it tagged right off of this resistance line that I have drawn in here, as well as this downtrend line. Now, one other thing that I want to point out here is that if we take a look at the MACD, you'll see that we are approaching a crossover. And if you look at the two most recent major crossovers here and here, you'll notice that the price rose significantly in both of those cases. Okay, so if we do get a nice breakout to the upside in this, it'll be nice to see a good volume spike as well. And that is because higher volume moves in general are more sustainable and less likely to fail. And as a quick example of that, you'll see right here, the volume definitely increased, and that corresponds to this large move here that is now hovering around that top price. So since we are playing this to the upside, it's going to be important to understand where the resistance levels are so we can understand where there's going to be potential sellers and maybe even a reversal. So what I'm going to do is zoom back out to the weekly chart. And the first line that I would like to point out is this one right here. And you will see there are several areas in the past where this stock interacted with that price. So you'll see that all right here. You have some in here, right here, and even more recently right here, and all in here. And one interesting thing that I would like to point out is if we go back to the daily chart and we take a look at our setup, you'll notice that this is the line that I just pointed out right here. And you'll see that every time it went up to that line, like right here, it struggled to get through. And when it did, it came back. Right here, it did the same thing, got through, came back, kind of stayed under it for a little bit. It tagged it here, it tagged it here. And so that is an important line that we need to get through. And ultimately, this setup will not work unless it gets through there. Okay, so now if we go back to our weekly chart and let's take a look at these other two lines that I have drawn in here. And you'll see we have this one right here at about 64. And you'll see there's various areas where the price has interacted with this level as well. And especially at this recent high right here. And if we go even higher than that, you'll see we have this resistance level at about 77. You'll see again the price action here, and right here. And if we go even higher than that, you would get up here to the all-time high at about 97 and 98. But in order to get up there, we first need to worry about this first resistance line here. So what I'm going to do is zoom in back to the daily chart so we can take a look at that a little closer. And so if this does break out to the upside, I would expect it to run up into this level. And if it does make it that far, I will likely sell a little bit of my position and then reassess to see if I should hold the rest or exit the position completely. Alright, so that's about it for this setup. And so now if we move on to setup number 2, that one is stock ticker CPRT, which is Copart Incorporated. And again, I want to start by zooming out to our weekly chart. And you'll notice that this has also been in a very long-term uptrend, but this one is even longer than the last. This one goes all the way back to 1996. And again, if we go ahead and move to our daily chart, you can see that over the last 5 months, this has also been in an intermediate term uptrend. And again, you'll see that recently we had a nice run up and the price went sideways and tightened, which is defined by these 2 lines. Now, since this is a pretty similar pattern to the last, I'm going to be playing it pretty much the same way. So if we zoom in here, so again, I'm going to be watching for the price to break out above this downtrend line here. And if it does, I am going to buy that breakout. And similar to the last stock, you could put your stop below this consolidation under this uptrend line here. But again, similar to the last play, that's too much risk for me and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to be looking for a place up inside this consolidation to put my stop. If this were to break out tomorrow, just below this candle would be a good place to do that. Or I might put it below the low of the breakout candle. And similarly to the last play, I'm going to be trying to move my stop up to break even as soon as possible. And one thing that I want to point out here is that you'll see the volume has been good recently, so we want to see a breakout with more of that good volume. And so again, since we're playing this to the upside, we want to take a look at any overhead resistance that could potentially be a problem down the road. And so I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit so we can take a look at those. And so this is still a daily chart, but it is going back a little bit further. And you'll notice that I only have one line drawn in, and that's right here up at 76. And you'll see again, price action has interacted with that level in the recent past. And the main reason that I only have the one line drawn in is because this has been in such a long-term uptrend. There has never been a time in the past, aside from right here, where the price has reached those levels. And so if we do get a breakout here, I'm going to be expecting this to rise into this resistance level here. And again, I will likely sell a little bit of the position there and then reassess to see what I should do with the rest of my position. Now, since this stock has been in such a long-term uptrend, I will be entering this stock with the intention to try and hold those shares as long as possible. Alright, so that's pretty much it for these 2 stock plays, but as always, it is really important to keep an eye on any fundamental changes with each particular stock or any overall market moving releases such as macroeconomic data. These things can certainly impact stock plays. Alright, so that's about it for this video. Feel free to check out all my other stock videos in the playlist in the top left corner. If you enjoyed this one, please drop a like, leave a comment if you have any questions or an idea for a future video. Feel free to follow my Instagram and TikTok in the description below. And lastly, please don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about my channel so I can grow and help more of you guys out. I'm just helping you out. See you in the next video.